Hi, everybody. My name is Fernando García, and I am the owner of a Spanish cafe in Budapest. It's called El Hispano, and it's a very lovely place. So if you go to Budapest, I encourage you to come. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a bit about my story as an entrepreneur, and how I ended up in Hungary and what I decided to do here. Yeah. So 5 years ago, I was running a distribution company for motorcycle parts in Spain. I used to do like restoration of all motorcycles and stuff, and we were also doing international distribution in Spain and from other countries to Spain. And the thing is that like to many people, COVID changed a bit the landscape, so I had to adapt a bit. And I ended up here, so it's very nice. And I'm gonna talk a bit about it, yeah? So, for me, I ended up with motorcycles very early on in my life, and I was very interested into it. So as soon as I could, after university, I saw an opportunity, and I created this company where we used to import motorcycle parts from for classic motorcycles, and also do some restorations, which at the time were very like on fashion in worldwide. Yeah, so definitely because of the type of business, pandemic affected quite a bit, and also especially in my type of business, because we were a B2B business, so we were selling to other companies, So obviously with the lockdowns, everything kind of stopped, and basically high percentage of my business kind of stopped at the same time. So I had to regroup, yeah. And I'm going to talk a bit about it. So after COVID lockdowns, I decided that, given that the business was a bit stagnant with the company clients, I needed to regroup a bit. So basically, my business was small, fairly small, but and the good thing is that we didn't have any kind of debt from banks or anything, so we were in a good position to kind of decide what was going to be the next steps for us, yeah. And given that there was a lot of uncertainty with the COVID, at the time it was maybe May of 2020, so nobody really know how long it was going to be, So instead of deciding to get one of these like government loans or anything to keep going, I decided to kind of stop it for a while, see how it progresses, and decide from there, yeah. And then at the same time, I was doing some training in Spain for another of my passions, which is aviation, and during the lockdowns also that kind of stopped. So as soon as it was possible to escape and kind of look for different horizons, I was frantically Googling where to find new places to keep doing training, and also take 1 month to kind of regroup and see what was going to be the next steps, yeah. So one of the places that I was looking for was in Eastern Europe was Hungary and the Czech Republic, and I decided to go to Budapest because I found a place very nice in Kalocsa that was lovely for flying there, yeah. I came here in August of 2020, and I was like everybody, I was trying to escape the lockdowns and trying to find a different perspective. And actually here, the government approach to COVID, at least during the summer, was much laid back than in Spain. And it was kind of like a fresh air for me, And also at the time, because I was doing this training in Kalocsa, I could travel up and down the country and really see how it was, and it was lovely, So I decided that 1 month is going to become 2 months, and then they're all kept going, yeah. So during the first year, I was still working on my Spanish company from here, because we could I had a person there to do the deliveries to other companies. And it was kind of picking up again, but at the same time, what was differentiating my company from other ones at the beginning of the lockdown kind of started to dilute because so at the time where I opened my company in Spain, this distribution of part was not very explored, you know, so there was a lot of things to do, yeah. But during the COVID, people started to look into things of how to do business from home and that kind of stuff. So drop shipping started to be in fashion, you know. So eventually, several of the ways that were differentiating me from other companies started to be less interesting, you know. So I decided that okay, then I need to find some job because I was here already by that time 1 year in Hungary. So I decided I needed some local job to also start to find a different way, yeah. And I had seen these Spanish restaurants. I tried a few of them in Budapest, and they were okay, but of course, you know, it's like if you go to Spain and you look for goulash, it's not going to be the same as in Hungary, you know. So they were kind of okay, but there was room for improvement, yeah. And so I decided that, okay, what if I create a company here to do maybe a catering business where I can partner with established restaurants and do kind of pop-up events here and there and start to create a name, you know. That was my idea at the time, you know. And right at the same time, I saw a Facebook post that they were looking for in one of these restaurants in Budapest. They were looking for a new chef. And I wrote a funny comment like, yeah, I know, I was in your restaurant and I think I can do better than the people before, you know. And so I have to say that I was, during my time in university, I had some experience in the kitchen, you know, but I was mainly a good home chef, home cook, yeah. So I was jokingly writing this, and the owner wrote back in 2 minutes, and she said, yeah, if you are sure about it, come on Friday and try, you know. And I talked to my wife and decided, okay, let's go for it. What else, you know? We didn't have anything to do on that Friday, you know, so let's try. And actually, it was very nice because I went there and I could see how they were operating and what were the things that were a bit lacking and things that I could improve myself, you know. So it was starting to roll in my head, like, okay, this could be something interesting. And also, my idea for this pop-up business, I didn't have data and experience of how Hungarians react to Spanish food and what do they like, what do they don't like, if they really understand it, you know. So I said, okay, let's give it few months in this restaurant. I will take it as an internship, yeah, and I will gain all the knowledge that I'm lacking right now, and then I will decide on the next steps, you know. And also because I was coming from a few years of basically home office, working by myself with a few people, but not really interacting with other people, I decided that it was good time for me to, they had a nice group of people working there, you know, and I decided it was nice to be among people and work with them and enjoy and have fun during the shifts, because kitchen work is actually quite demanding, but at the same time can be very funny and very enjoyable, you know. I like cooking, so it is very enjoyable. So during this time in my training, I have to say that the restaurant I was working for, it was called Pincho. So I started there, and my original idea was to stay only a few months, but I ended up being there the main chef for 2.5 years. And during this time, the restaurant started really picking up, and actually we became first in this TripAdvisor for many months in Budapest. So it was kind of proving my concept that there's something here that can work. And but I knew from the very beginning that it was going to be just temporary until I found the next step. Because also, you know, it is a small restaurant, so there is a limit of what you can do, really. There is a position where once you have achieved everything you have to achieve there, you need to leave some space for somebody else and then try your stuff. So during my time in this restaurant, I started to do also I shifted a bit my idea, and I decided to open a small cafe that can be less susceptible to the Hungarian economy. At the time it was a bit shaky. Now it's a bit less shaky, but it was a bit shaky. So I saw what were the problems of restaurants that, for example, the size, bigger size requires bigger staffing. Bigger staffing is higher costs of operation. So I decided I wanted something very light, very adaptable, and also, eventually my idea was to create a test kitchen where I can test a few things, you know. And then I started to grow this business plan, and eventually I opened my own restaurant. I decided to go to the fifth district of Budapest because it's an area that has a bit more tourism. So I was focusing a bit more on that side, mainly because I don't speak Hungarian, and also it's an area of people passing all the time, and I wanted to be part of it, you know. So yeah, I started testing the concept, and one of the first things that I saw from both my work in the restaurant and my previous company is that I would say maybe not the most important thing, but one of the most important things in any business is the group of people that you're working with. And actually, you can try to be this kind of orchestra man and do everything, but eventually you are going to either burn out or you are going to get sick and then it's not going to run good, or you need people to work with, you know. And I was lucky enough that my wife, Katerina, she is an architect and an interior designer, so she knew what I wanted to convey to Hungarian public, and she was able, through her trips with me to Spain and my inputs, to to create a very classic, standard Spanish cafe. So I always tell to people that in Spain every building has a cafe below, and the people that live in the neighborhood get together in these cafes. So Spanish tapas is more of a social thing than really sitting in front of a plate and eating it, you know. So I wanted to convey this kind of stuff and bring it to Hungary. So yeah, basically one of the first steps was creating the team. Choosing the location was quite hard because also I had to deal with local regulations that were not so common in Spain. So for example, people of the building can decide if you can or cannot open the restaurant. So it was, you know, I tried one place and we were already with everything signed, and then the people in front on the top didn't want a restaurant. So I had to pivot in the last moment, but we found a really nice spot. And yeah, navigating bureaucracy in Hungary, it is especially hard for me because I don't know Hungarian, but I have to say that many of the laws have similarities because they are European laws, so I kind of knew what I can expect from bureaucracy, you know. So except some local regulations, more or less is similar. But the problem is that the local regulations that in Spain or here for any of you is like one phone call in 5 minutes. For me, it's like 2 weeks of, you know, like trying 8 times. But it is what it is, you know. So yeah, financing. I tried actually. We got a guy that was very interested in investing, but it is not the first time that it happens to me that in the moment to put the money in forward, you know, they are like, maybe in 2 months, you know. So eventually we self-financed with what we had. And actually, we knew that you can open a KFT here in Hungary. So the minimum sum for a KFT is, I think, 3 million, or it was when I opened. But in reality, you can open a KFT with less than 3 million. You can open with less than 3 million if in the first year you put the rest in like equipment or that kind of stuff. And it was going to happen for us anyway. So we were kind of loose in what we could accommodate around the legislation, you know. So we tried, and I think we succeeded very well. But yeah, the permits were a big issue for us also because, you know, so there is this thing that, so in Hungary there are regulations regarding alcohol which are not present in Spain, you know. And we found out that if you have a cold kitchen, for example, you cannot have a school or a church in less than 160 meters. But in downtown Budapest, it is impossible, you know. So with this, I want to say that if you are being an entrepreneur, you have to be able to adapt, and you are like, okay, with this regulation it's going to be impossible. So I need to find another way within legality, of course, to progress. Yeah. So yeah, permits took a bit of time. Language obviously was an issue, but I thought it was going to be a bigger issue. I have to say that people, even when they come to do inspections to us, they come with kind of goodbye so far, you know. So they try to communicate. If you also try to communicate, eventually you find a middle ground. So it was less of a problem that I thought it was going to be. Still, we want to work a bit more, because the service of the clients is one of the most important things, if not the most important thing. And many people, if they don't see things in Hungarian, they are a bit like shaken a bit, you know. So we try to adapt to our local clientele, but also, you know, we are trying. So it is a bit of an early struggle for us, and a struggle. But anyway, suppliers were also quite hard, because the supply of Spanish food until Hungary is challenging and expensive. But eventually we found pretty good ones. The good thing is that we can go to Spain and talk literally to the factories and everything, and they can arrange it for us. So now we have a very good line of suppliers. But yeah, at the beginning was a big problem, because there were literally 3 or 4 places in Budapest that you could get Spanish food. So it was not that easy. Yeah, customers and cultural surprises. So I would say our clientele is mainly 40% is Hungarians that are working in the area, because it's an area of the 5th district that has a lot of banks and stuff. So it's not so much people living in the area, but offices and that kind of stuff. And the rest of the people, I would say another. Yeah, I will say half and half are either Spanish people that is passing by or living in Budapest, and the rest is like foreigners that are just passing by, and they actually read our reviews and come to check us. So it's very nice. So one of the things that I learned from working in this previous restaurant is that sometimes in the restaurant business it's not so important the taste of the food as it is the service and the ambience that you create. Because the people that come to a restaurant like a Spanish restaurant or any kind of foreign cuisine in a country, they want to be part of an experience. Yeah. So sometimes, of course, the food has to be good, because otherwise they will not come back. But sometimes it's more important even to create this kind of like specific ambience that they come and they are like, oh, I'm in Madrid or in Salamanca, you know. So this was very important for us, and it was achieved either through interior design was very important. I have to say I'm a man, so I just needed 2 chairs, a table, and a cooking pot. But my wife clearly is very wise in this case, and she was like, no, we are going to invest into creating an atmosphere that people will enjoy. And actually, I would say is one of the most celebrated things that people come to us. They say that it truly feels like being in Spain. So this is what we wanted to create. So yeah, I would say that ambience and service is the most important things of restaurant business. The food is also important, but less important than that. And then also, yeah, we started to get little by little this like local customers that have really cool stories. For example, there is this German woman that comes every so often, because she adopted a dog in Spain, and when she comes and she tells me this, I give like a piece of ham or something to the dog, because she has to feel like she's going back to Spain. So she only comes because she has a Spanish dog. So there is this kind of funny things, you know, and I truly enjoy it. It really the restoration business is very nice sometimes. So yeah. After the situation with the COVID, many people maybe would have chosen to not be an entrepreneur for a long time or not do anything. But the thing is that for people that have like myself, like I have 7,000 ideas running at the same time, you know, it is kind of therapeutic actually to create businesses, you know. And sometimes you just have to give yourself a couple of days to say, oh, why did this not work, or it's my fault or whatever, and then you just have to regroup yourself and keep going, you know. And I learned from my previous company, especially the importance of maneuver around bureaucracy, and it was very important here in Hungary because it has the added layer of difficult language for us. But yeah, there are several things like this importance of creating a good group of people to work with. The importance of networking is also something that many people forget and don't put much attention, you know, and all those small lessons that you learned from your previous company is very nice to see them adapted to the new one and see how the company flourishes because of it. Yeah, and so in the case of balancing Spanish authenticity with Hungarian reality, we actually knew that because we are small restaurants with a small budget, the only differentiation that we could really push for was authenticity. And that was, so the thing with any business, you have to find what makes you different from the rest of the people, and what is what can you put forward that is going to be different, and that's going to be your main focus point, you know. And we knew that for us it had to be this specific authenticity of Spanish food, Spanish cuisine, and that was going to be what we can compete with higher budgets and bigger restaurants than us. And actually it works very well for us. Again, from I wouldn't say it is a fault, because you know the issue that we had with the COVID was just a reorganization of how things were going to happen from that point forward, you know. But you still have to be able to adapt, because many people think themselves in a specific set of rules, and when the things change or collapse or under your feet, sometimes you are not able to adapt, and it is really, if you keep pushing for a bit more, you will make it succeed and find resilience and stuff. So personal growth traits like resilience, humility, and adapting to uncertainty were definitely what kept me and my wife pushing during those years, you know. And it is very important. Also, we had a lot of help from local Hungarian friends like Kitty and many people that really were pushing for us, and it is very important. You can do anything by yourself, but in reality you always need like a background of people that is going to push you forward, and it is very important, you know. And it's very important to not underestimate team, friends, and networking. The legal issues and permits are going to be problematic in any country that you work, but it's something to really to have in mind. And the burnout is also something that I personally don't believe it, because many people say now that I'm burnout and stuff, and like, well, you're not trying enough, you know. But also it's kind of a mindset. So sometimes it's just like, give yourself a couple of days to watch Netflix and, you know, and be in pajama, but then just push yourself to see, okay, now this is the situation we are in, how do we overcome it? And it's gonna work out. And for our company, what is next? Well, I created, so my restaurant called Hispano is part of a company that I created called Aventureros KFT, and it is a service company mainly. And from the very early moment, we knew that we needed to diversify streams of income just in case one of the parts was not working so good. So, for example, restaurant business is very seasonal. So we knew from the beginning that there is going to be months that is going to be more challenging to pay the staff and pay all the bills. So from the very early moment, we knew that we needed to have different streams of income that we could focus on in case of this situation. At the moment, for example, we have two main streams of income. One is in the restaurant business, and the other one is technical services that I do for my other passion, which is aviation. So both of them are, even though they don't seem that correlate too much, through the scope of the company, they are fantastic because it really saves a lot of headache for us, you know. So it's always very interesting to focus on what can we do with what we have and what different options do we have to reach from, yeah. And for example, what is next for our restaurant? There are different ways that we can continue with it. So several months ago, we were offered to do this kind of food truck events and stuff. At the time, we didn't push for it, but it was. It seemed, on paper, it seemed quite good business, but you know, we were not really ready for it. So, for us, at the moment, we are focusing on local events. So weekly, we do paellas and that kind of stuff. And actually, I quite enjoy that the people come to us and they put reviews that we are like a, how is it called, like a small gem or something hidden in Budapest. So I really enjoy, as long as the restaurant is profitable. I don't really need it to be the main thing of income and create like a big chain of restaurants and stuff. I just want one part of the business that is going to be give me the least amount of headaches and continue with it, you know. And so what is next for the restaurant? I would say, yeah, we are focusing on creating a standardized menu that we can duplicate and replicate in different places. But yeah, we'll see what happens. At the moment, we are very happy with what we have, and I think it's working very good. At the same time, in the company, we are starting to push with interior design in the HoReCa sector through my wife's work. And it is working actually quite interesting and quite well. So I would say that the future of the company is going to be in diversification and enjoy every step of it, because it's also very important for us. And we don't want to be focusing on only one aspect and then not enjoying the journey, which is important for us, you know. And yeah, in Hungary I found a lot of opportunities. It's not an easy market to work, definitely. But also the Spanish one is not easy. So there is, if you come here with good ideas and something different that people will enjoy, there is definitely a big option to open new things and push for it, you know. And yeah, as it says, 100% of the shots that you don't take, you will not make. So it's just to keep trying until you find the good thing that will work for you. And yeah. And that's about it, I think. So, yeah. Yeah, thank you.